Okay, good morning. CQ, the old friends net. This is N4LQ, November 4, Lima, Quebec. Steve in Charlotte, North Carolina, calling CQ the old friends net. The old friends net is an amplitude modulation only net. If you can generate AM, we would love to have you check in with us. We meet here every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and every Thursday at 9 a.m. and on Sundays at 4 p.m. here on 3715 kilocycles. Trying a new microphone today. May have to switch depending on what it sounds like. We operate in the round table fashion, and we take a list of all the check-ins, put them in order, and give that out so you'll know where you are. Please take notes on comments and check-in order so that we'll have everything at our fingertips. So let's go ahead and start the check-ins now. Call N4LQ.
WB4NKL.
K4JAL.
And W4MEC.
W2CQH.
WB4ARK.
I was starting to wonder if I was on the right frequency or not. Let's see. The last one was Buddy. Anybody else to check in?
Steve, W4WU.
Got a station just a few KCs up from us that's pretty strong. You got Richard. Anybody else?
K4GDN.
All right, well, here's what I got so far. WB4NKL, K4JAL, W4MEC, W2CQH, WB4ARK, W4WU, and K4GDN. Any further check-ins, call now. The band is uncannily quiet. It's kind of weird. And everybody's signal is just fine here, copying good. One more time for check-ins. N4LQ listening. Okay, I'm on the AF-68 amplifier and all that, running about 300 watts carrier, and I'm trying this Electro Voice mic here to see what it sounds like. I'm not too sure. I may have to switch over to the D104, so let me know if it sounds hard to understand or something like that. So let's go ahead and start the round table with Buddy, who is first today, WB4NKL, N4LQ.
That's WB4NKL, Cliff in Limestone, Tennessee. Not Buddy. But everybody's sounding good here too. Where it's 29 degrees and kind of chilly, but it's supposed to have been colder, so I'm thankful it didn't get any colder than what it did. I was dragging my feet checking in, waiting on Dave, but Dave, I think, got out early on the other net, was having to take, like he said earlier, had a doctor's appointment. But he had a busy day lined up, so I guess I ended up being first here. Running a command set today. It's a new rig for me. A friend of mine, Chuck, picked it up at an estate sale, and it's got a home-built power supply and a modulator, and the modulator's a copy of the ICO 730 or whatever it is. So it's running about 75 watts and plate modulated. So send it on around. Go ahead, Jimmy. K4JAL. It's WB4NK on the microphone. Sound great, Steve. That'd be a keeper.
WB4NKL, K4JAL. Your little rig sounds good. I was looking up those things. It's got a rich history. 75 watts. That's pretty good. I didn't think they put that much out. We had 23 degrees here this morning, and Helen set out had 7 or 8 azalea bushes set out yesterday. She got a sheet on them. We don't know whether we'll have any blooms on them this year, but I doubt it. That's the way life goes. Over to you, Reed. No, wait a minute, it's Charlie. W4MEC, K4JAL.
Okay, Jimmy, K4JAL. In the group. Real good morning, fellas. For some reason, I thought Brian checked in after Cliff. I wrote him down there. I don't know. There's this ESP thing going. Anyway, it's 31 degrees here. And nice clear sky out there. Kind of breezy last night. It's kind of dead calm here right now. So, anyway, of course, everybody's got a good signal. Copy George. Okay. And let's see, still running my standbys here. The Apache TX1 and the Mohawk RX1 feeding the dipole. And other than that, still got my Hammerland on the bench, just trying to sort out that filter. I've actually made some progress, and I just need to go back through the alignment of the thing again, and it should be ready to go, along with several other things that should be ready to go, hint, hint. So, anyway, all right, let's see, on to Reed, W2CQH, and the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, W2CQH. Well, good morning, Annette. I'm on the usual rig here, the ARC-13 PC348 receiver, and coax feeding half-wave dipole of about 50 feet. This XYL Sandra went out and put sheets over this plants, hoping that she could save the flowers or bud. So we'll know this morning when she takes off the sheet. It was pretty cold here in Georgia. I think it did down to freezing last night. So on to Buddy. How are you keeping warm? WB4ARK, W2CQH.
W2CQH, WB4ARK. Well, the temperature here at 7:30 was 28 degrees, so it got a little bit colder than what the weather people were saying. They were saying it was going to go down to about 32. So it topped that. And it's very clear, not a cloud in the sky, a little breezy. Had a little broom standing up beside the outside door to the garage, and it blew over onto the concrete, and that side faces the northwest, so we had wind coming from that direction, which is where this front was coming from. Well, they predicted it was going to be cold, but that's a little colder than I expected. I hope our almond tree didn't suffer any this year. I think it got hit a little bit last year, and we didn't have quite as many as we usually have. People say you can't grow almonds in this area. Well, we have one, and it's probably about 25 feet tall. and it has beautiful white blossoms on it, pink blossoms. In about a week and a half ago, they were full bloom. So they're about all gone now. So the flowers are set and ready to be matured into size if the weather didn't get them. Well, we're on the ART-13 RR390A horizontal dipole transmatch, so that's what we're running here today. Was going to hook up the KWS-1, but I didn't have time to get it done this morning. It's running a little slow. So, over to W4WU, WB4ARK.
Okay, thank you, buddy. W4WU in the group. I almost went to my old call. WB4UGMI for a long time. Anyway, good morning to everybody. It's 37 degrees here in Cowpens. I failed to look at it early this morning when I got up, about 6:30. So I don't know how cold it got, but I don't think it got quite as cold as maybe it did over there at your house, buddy. But anyway, I'm running the 32V3 this morning, receiving on the 75A4 in-fed half-wave antenna, and that's about the rundown of that. Let's see, putting out about 300-something watts. It's changing on my watt meter pretty fast. Hard for me to see exactly what it is, but somewhere in that neighborhood. And everybody sounds good this morning. Steve, it does sound good, your station. And had a good time up at Sevierville Hamfest. And I got to see, Cliff, got to see Dave, maybe a couple others that I'm missing too. So some of the old friends group were up there. It wasn't a terribly large Hamfest, but there were some decent looking things there. I was going to get a little Alacraft K2 from a guy. Had a real good price on it. Well, it was a good price, so somebody else grabbed it before I did. So we started to leave and it was gone. So anyway, I sort of wish I'd bought it first time. Anyway, that's about the way it is here in Cowpens this morning. Good, pretty morning out there. Boy, it was windy last night, though. George, over to you at Myrtle Beach. K4GDN in the group. W4WU.
W4WU in the group. This is K4GDN in Myrtle Beach, in the third world, where it's sunny. It was in the low 40s this morning, and it's breezy. And I think it's going to stay breezy today. We're not expecting any rain until, I believe, later on in the week, maybe towards Friday or so. I'm running the Elmac AF-68 into the homebrew 811, putting out about 225 watts, and receiving on a PMR7 and also an NC300, just to be sure I hear everything there. And everybody's coming in well except for Reed. I can see him on the scope, but that's about all I get from Reed. And other than that, everybody's coming in here well. So with that, I'll pass it on back to you, Steve. Steve, the mic sounds fine. And by the way, on the Elmac here, I'm using a Turner 350 ceramic. It's a high impedance handcuff. I'd just be curious to see what you think it sounds like. So back to you, Steve. N4LQ in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN, N4LQ. Well, I think it sounds okay. It's not as bright and crisp as a D104 as typical for Turners. That's probably the way this thing sounds. I don't know, and I may switch over here later and try the D104 and get some comparison reports. I did have to turn up the mic gain quite a bit on the AF-68. This is a dynamic mic. It's an EV, let's see here, 638 Electro Voice, and it's got a, it was real heavy. I couldn't figure out why it was so heavy, and I turned it over, and the base, somebody has filled it with epoxy and hardware, and you can see the nuts and bolts and spacers and screws and all kinds of stuff poking through the epoxy, but it sure made it heavy. So it's going to stay put on the desk, but it's not quite tall enough, so I got to pick it up and hold it anyway. And it's got a very hair trigger push to talk on it, so have to be careful with it. Let's see, the command set does sound good. If I didn't know better, I would have thought you were on the DX100. Cliff, I got your name right. Sorry I called you buddy, but, you know, everybody's a buddy. Okay, on your bushes there, Jimmy, and don't want those to freeze up. And let's see, 2 ART-13s are sounding good. And that 32V3 really sounds good, Richard. That is real smooth, nice, punchy audio on that thing. They always do sound good. Sorry you missed the K2. Yeah, I had one for a while. Somebody loaned me just to get my comments on it, and I played with it. It's pretty weird. The menu on it is not really what I would consider English. It's got these weird little symbols and things on it. You have to kind of keep the manual nearby to interpret what in the world those things mean. So it was sort of an early menu-driven type rig. I don't know. The K3 was, of course, better. But let's see. And George, your AF-67 does sound good. So let's see if anybody else wants to check in now. Call in for LQ now.
WF2U, Whiskey Foxtrot 2 uniform.
All right, acknowledging WF2U. Really loud, Amir. Okay, go ahead and make a transmission, then just turn it back to me.
N4LQ and the net, this is WF2U. Good morning, everybody. And I'm a little bit late here, and I just got to almost to the end of the first round. I'm running the GRC-19 this morning. They consist of the T195 transmitter and the R392 receiver, old Collins, and putting out, let's see, 100 watts carrier into the end-fed half-wave antenna, and that's about it with the setup. We had about 31 degrees this morning when I got up. It's warming up a little bit, not much. It's still 35, but nice and sunny. So with that, everybody is loud. I didn't take readings, but because the R392 doesn't have an S meter, it's just a relative RF in dB. So N4LQ, this is WF2U.
Roger, Roger. Sounds good, Mir. Anybody else want to check in? All right, nothing heard. Looks like it's going to be a nice week up till Friday, and then we're getting rain, which I don't mean to say that's bad, but it is going to be wet. Another wet weekend in a row. 1.39 inches Friday and another 0.34 on Saturday. So that means 1 3/4 inches is being predicted. Boy, oh boy. And kind of cool. Tomorrow's going to be 70 though, and Thursday will be too. So that's going to be the day to get outside and do some work. So let's go back around for another one. And George, you will turn it over to Mir, and I hope you guys can hear each other. WB4NKL on the command set N4LQ.
N4LQ, it's WB4NKL. Okay, Steve. Yeah, I don't like these rainy weekends. It's AWA meet's coming up this weekend, which I'm sort of locked into it. I'm heading down Thursday and spending the night. A friend's got a room there at the Sheraton, so be there Friday. And looked at the weather. That rain's coming in, but it looks like it's not getting there till afternoon, after lunch Friday. So if that don't change, it'll be okay for the AWA meet. That's about the time I leave down there anyway, and not planning on being there Saturday. So hopefully that'll all go okay. And if they don't move the rain up a little, Friday morning should be fine. Everybody's coming in great here. Copied George, and George, the microphone turner sounds good. So everybody was 100% copy here. So send it on around. Go ahead, Jimmy. K4JAL, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, K4JAL. Yep, it's supposed to warm up tonight, so maybe our bushes will survive. I've named all my other bushes, and I've run out of bush names. I've got George 1 and George 2 and Barbara and Jeb, all the rest of them. I'm going to have to go over. I think I'll name these Democrats. Maybe they'll thrive in this environment. Who knows? Richard, if I weren't so lazy, I'd be over on my 32 V2. Curious about what kind of amp you're running. You said you were doing about 300 watts. You might tell us that next time around.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, Jimmy K4JAL in the group, W4MEC. Real good. Copy on to everybody. And I'm sitting here reading the emails about the comments about the batteries. Yeah, that was kind of a shock there. I've had bad luck mostly with AA Duracells, but I've never had a problem with a D-cell Duracell before, leaking like that. And someone commented about using Costco batteries. My son buys them from Costco by the bunches there because they have a lot of gadgets, and I haven't had any issues with Costco. And I mentioned Harbor Freight; they haven't caused any problems. And Jimmy mentioned Rayovac. I mean, when I was a kid, Rayovac was a sure death for a toy. I think those things were made leaking. So I remember so many things get ruined by our leaking Rayovac, but I've actually had pretty good luck with them lately, and Evereadys are still good, no problems with those. That Eveready I showed in the picture, I've got 2 of them. They actually still have a little voltage on them, and they're from November of 1952 is when they were made, stamped on the side of them, and they came in a old aviation radio that you would use in a plane that had no electrical system. Let's say something like a motor with a magneto, and it was a totally battery-operated transmitter and receiver, and that you could bring with you. And that and a couple of 45-volt B batteries were in there too. They didn't leak either, but they didn't put out any voltage. But anyway, that's my history with Duracells over the last quite a few years now has been poor. And the odd thing is they didn't used to be like that. They used to make jokes about other batteries leaking and Duracells wouldn't, and now they're just as bad as the rest of them. I would say even worse, to be honest with you. And one battery I've never seen leak is a 9-volt battery. You know, I've got some old ones of those too, Duracell also, and that I've had in equipment, and they never leaked after they'd been dead, and I forgot about them, you know, and oh no, there's a battery in there, and then I pop it open, and it's perfectly fine physically, and but no luck with those babies. Anyway, but the battery box washed out okay with the gunk with a bunch of hot water, so and for some reason it didn't corrode the metal springs. Usually it eats the plating off of them, and they become intermittent. They won't make a good connection or whatever after that point.
but the battery box was still in good shape. So put some good batteries in there and continue on. So with what I used it for, which was to power the 1.5 volt filaments of a couple of antique radios I've got. So anyway, let's see. Moving on with this Reed W2CQH and W4MEC.
W4MEC, W2CQH. I buy my batteries at the dollar store. Now the $1.25 store. So for $1.25, you get 2 D cells, silver cells, made in China, of course. They seem to work all right. I've never seen one of them leak. But they're the old carbon zinc type, not the fancy alkaline cells that we have now, which I think have more of a tendency to leak. And I'm planning to go to the AWA convention in Charlotte this weekend, but I don't know if I'll go if it's raining. I-85 is a dangerous highway. 180 miles of danger when it's dry. And I'm not going to try it when it's wet. So maybe or maybe not this weekend. Are you coming to the convention? WB4M or yeah. Buddy, WB4 ARK, W2CQH.
CQH, WB4ARK. Yes, I plan to be there. Got an eye appointment on Thursday, so I won't be making the net that day. I have to be there at 8 o'clock, which is an hour's drive to Charlotte from here. So we'll have to leave pretty early. Well, I've got I look forward to seeing you at the AWA meet, Reed. I hope you will come. Of course, it will be raining that afternoon, so I guess you'd have, if you were going back on Friday, you'd have a drive back in the rain. I've got a ever-ready battery that came in a precision vacuum tube voltmeter that I really love those meters. I've got several of them that I have bought over the years. When I see a good one, I got my first one in 1954 and 55, and got it for Christmas. My parents gave it to me, and I've loved that thing. It's never been out of my possession. It's a fantastic meter. So this one is, the price on the side was 25 cents, D99. They always use those in their meters. And this came in a meter that I bought, and it's still in good shape. Yes, it's carbon zinc type, and it has 1.3 volts measured voltage. Of course, that's more static than it is under load, so I don't know what it would do if I put a load on it. But sitting here on my workbench as a replica of batteries of yesteryear that were stable. Steve, your mic sounds good. However, I'm wondering, with all the epoxy in the base, what happens if something occurs with the electronics or some other part of the mic? Can you get into it with the base fused with epoxy like that? Richard, that 32V3 sounds great. I've been wanting to put mine back on the air. It's on a dolly, which I keep in another room. I can roll it in here and hook it up quite quickly. So I might do that on the next go around. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I guess that's about it. We'll turn it over to Richard, W4WU, WB4ARK.
Okay, buddy. Thank you very much. Let me turn this other radio off over here so I don't get feedback. Well, interesting comments. I've been working on a project. I don't know how y'all manage, but I have 4 of these big plastic tubs full of wire. They're hookup cables, miscellaneous, multi-strand wire, some of them 3 feet long, some of them 30 feet long, whatever, just all kinds of stuff, some antenna wire, just all my pieces of wire, and I don't dare throw them away. I imagine most of y'all probably about the same way too. And so I got real aggravated the other day. I was going through one looking for a cable, and I said, the heck with this. I just dumped it out on the floor of my shop area over there on the other side of the ham shack. And I've been going through that thing. It's one big tangle. Once you put things in there, if you look for one thing, everything gets tangled up. And I'm sure some of y'all are probably laughing right now, thinking about similar experiences. Anyway, I've been working on that, going through, and I've cleaned that first tub out. I still have 3 more. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to manage my cables so that doesn't happen again, at least not anytime soon. And I figured out a way to put some pieces of thin wall conduit under the stairs that go upstairs. I'm in the basement, and there's sort of a little closet under the stairs, and that's where those tubs stay. I've got them on a dolly. Just roll them up under there. So I'm going to put pieces of conduit from one side of the stair supports over to the other, and then all these coils of wire that I've been taking out and coiling up, put them on that piece of conduit. And so that's going to be my project for later today. So anyway, I at least get one tub cleaned out. That's a major accomplishment. I've still got 3 more to go. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that stuff. Probably it'll stay in the tub until my son has to do something with it years to come from now. But anyway, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to run upstairs. I've got to run into town for a little bit and get some things and run my Lowe's and get a piece of conduit and cut it up in some straps and put it up under the stairs, try to manage that. I can't walk in my shop right now unless I walk on top of wire. It's everywhere. And I imagine y'all, like I say, are laughing about that. So I'm going to say 73 to the group. I might listen just for a minute, and then I'll be upstairs and get cleaned up and run into Spartanburg. Enjoyed it this morning. Like I said, I enjoyed seeing some of you up at Sevierville too, and hope to hear you again the next time on the net. So 7-3 to everybody. George, over to you. K4GDN, W4WU.
W4WU in the group's K4GDN, and on this Richard. And as far as the batteries go, I prefer railbacks when I can get them, but a lot of times for stuff like toys and things at Christmas where they may get used up partially, I've been using a lot of the Costco Kirkland batteries, and I've had good luck with them. I don't know who makes them, but I'm sure it's not Costco. But at any rate, like I say, I prefer railbacks when I can get them. And I'm always cautious about all of them. If I've got things with batteries in them that I'm not going to use them, I take the batteries out. I've had enough bad luck with things leaking in the past, so I don't want to get involved with that. And man seems to be still holding up fairly well here. I can see read, but I can't really copy it. So other than that, I'm getting everybody okay. So I guess with that, it goes to you, Mir. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Go ahead, Mayor.
K4GDN. As I know, this is WF2U. Okay, almost on everybody. George, you were still a little bit on the weak side. The bend is relatively quiet. Jimmy was weak. I got almost everything, and Reed was weak, about 50% copy. So, but everybody else was loud and clear, so to speak, with this radio. And I don't have, as I said, any S-meter here. And I plan to put the G76 on the air this morning. A couple of days ago, I did some work on it. Something was intermittent, and I think one of the relays was not making contact. I cleaned it. It worked. I changed the final also. I have several of these old sweep tubes, and I got about 15 watts more power, so I got about almost 50 watts out. And this morning I come in and that same intermittent is still there, and it doesn't go into transmit. The relay doesn't click. So it's actually two relays. One relay does some switches voltages, and then the other is the TR relay on the antenna. So I have to open it up again. So since I have the GRC19 right on the next desk, that's why I put it on a little bit late by the time everything warmed up. So work never ends here. And so full of projects and all the spring cleanup and yard work and everything else that needs to be done. I don't have much left time-wise to play radios. I usually kind of come in, turn something on, and if it doesn't work, just go to the next desk and turn something else on. And just remember to address the problem the next time. So anyway, Steve, I guess it's your turn. Back to net control, N4LQ. This is WF2U.
Okay, Mayor, WF2U, this is N4LQ, the old friends net. Do we have any late check-ins? Okay, nothing heard. All right, let's see. I'm sitting here looking at a red dog biscuit on my desk. This is a milk bone. And the reason is we're going to take it with us to the drive-in restaurant today, Zaxby's. A lot of times the guy at Zaxby's actually sees that we have dogs in the back of the truck and gives us one for each dog. And last time he didn't have any, and the dogs were just mad as they could be about that. So we're going to carry a backup biscuit with us and break this in half and give it to them. And then when they get home, they expect another one. So going out for a ride in the truck is a big deal for them. Let's see here. And Richard, real fine on the tubs of wire. Well, I know what you're talking about. I've got a couple of tubs down there full of that stuff, and I just hate it when I need something because I've tried to wrap them all up at the best I could and tie them together, and trying to get something out of those tubs is a mess, and there really isn't any good solution. There's too many of them to hang up somewhere, so it's just the way it's going to have to be. Buddy, you asked about the switch in this Electro Voice. It's the electronics it doesn't have any electronics. It's just a switch, push to talk switch, and it's on the side, built into the stem. So there's nothing in the base but epoxy and nuts and bolts and parts and things. Stand by for just a second. I'm going to plug in the D104. Okie dokie, here we are. This is the D104, and I would like to get some comments on the difference that you hear. My guess is it probably sounds more crisp and sharp and penetrating and all that, but who knows? Eveready, Duracell, those things are made, who knows? I mean, for instance, I see here that Berkshire Hathaway purchased Duracell back in 2016, so they're owned by some kind of a what do you call those, investment company or whatever. And I see that Duracell has a plant in Cleveland, Tennessee, one in Lancaster, South Carolina, and one in LaGrange, Georgia, and Belgium, and Dongguan in China. They're all over the world, some in Japan, and they make batteries for a lot of other third parties like Costco, and all these manufacturers are doing that. They're switching things. It sort of reminds me of gasoline that you buy at the gas station. Where does it come from? And I think maybe this is a relatively new thing. I think Duracell's a really old company. Started back in the 20s or something, and they eventually got bought out by Procter & Gamble, and now it's Berkshire Hathaway. So it's very likely that the material and the quality has changed over the years, and it could be that it used to be Burgess and Rayovac were the worst. Rayovac especially, just horrible batteries. I thought when I was a kid, I wouldn't touch a Duracell. I mean, a Rayovac to me was the worst battery you could get, and now maybe not. I don't know. Well, I hope you guys have a good time at the AWA and you get your shopping done before the rain. I'm not going to bother to go. I'm rebelling against the price just to get in the thing. You have to join the club, and I don't really belong to the club, and I don't really care to. But to get in, I think you have to buy a membership, and that's about $20 or something. So, I'm not that into antique radios. They're okay, but I prefer ham stuff, and there's always a few ham things there to look at, but not enough. All right, let's go back around again here. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4NKL. Okay, Steve, yeah, that microphone's what you said. It's got more highs and sound. I like it better than the Electro Voice, but the Electro Voice was okay until I heard the D104. Let's see, batteries. I'm like you on the Rayovacs years ago. They were not on my list, but I have been using them now. Ingalls sells them, and they put them on sale about every couple of months ago. I watch the paper, and when they put them on sale, I go buy them. A 9-volt battery, if you just go up there now, it's like $3.79, and they got them on sale. They used to be $1, but they're like $1.25 now. And I haven't had any real bad luck with them, no more than any of the other batteries. I think one requirement was that they have no mercury in them, and they took that out a few years ago, and I don't know if that, whatever they replaced the mercury with, if that's what's causing the corrosion issues or what, but probably something that they've left out or are not putting in them now that they used to have in them. Let's see, tubs of wire, got several here. And if you got more than one wire in a container, they always, I don't know what happens there. They get all tangled up. Takes you about an hour to get them all uncooperated, especially if you got more than two. I think one will get tangled up. I'm going to say 73s and enjoyed it. Thanks for the report on the command set. I've got it spread out over a whole bench top here with the 3 separate units and the receiver. So I'm going to try to get it in a more vertical position, get a little short rack and put it in that. So enjoyed it. Thanks for calling it, Steve, and we'll catch you later on. Go ahead, Jimmy. K4JAL, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, K4JAL. Well, bye, Cliff. Have a good one. Yeah, that 104 is not as fuzzy as the other one, using a technical term. Sounds really, both of them sound fine, like Cliff said. Batteries. I was lucky enough to have a childhood void of batteries. Early 50s, batteries were not required in most cases. I really feel for people who have children now and for hams who have more modern equipment that require batteries. They're going to corrode if you forget about them. That's all there is to it. I'm out of here. Enjoyed it this morning. Everybody have a good day. W4MEC, K4JAL, 73.
Okay, Jimmy, K4JAL, W4MEC. Real good. Yeah, I think the D104 was as loud, and I would say it was brighter. I guess that's the word. I mean, both the mics sounded excellent to me, but the 104 just seemed a little like it had a little, maybe a little more bandwidth to it on the upper end. But you were sounded like you on both. So anyway, was the wires tangling by themselves? Well, that's one of the mysteries of the universe there, and the other one is Christmas tree lights, where I very carefully wrapped them. I used to put them on a board, an oblong board, and just carefully wrap them up there. And for some reason, while they sat in the box until next Christmas, they decided they would interweave amongst themselves there. The other thing is Christmas lights is you take them off the tree and they're working, and you put them away, and then you bring them out next year, and 5 bulbs are burned out. So it's the ones with the Christmas tree lamps that have the I don't know what you call it, the no failure mode, where a bulb can go out and it won't kill the whole string. Those are the worst to troubleshoot. And I've thrown complete strings away because I never could figure out what bulb was bad and go buy new ones. But anyway, all right, fellas, good to talk to you this morning. And let's see, we'll look for y'all on Thursday, and maybe with some other piece of gear that needs to be hooked up and put on the air. So anyway, 7-3 for now, and I can't remember if Reed checked out or not, but I'll send it his way. If he's not there, buddy, pick it up. W2CQH in the group, W4MEC.
4MEC, W2CQH. Here. See what I'm using. Better higher frequency response. Better response at the high end, which helps my slowly failing hearing. And I'm looking at my number 6 tri-cell made by Bright Star Industries at Clifton, New Jersey. And number 6 is 2.5 inches in diameter and 6 inches long. Quite a big cell. And the thing still puts out about 1 volt open circuit and probably 0 volts under a load since I've had this thing since my boyhood. I wonder if you can still buy number 6 cells. When I was a boy, they cost 50 cents. And if you looked around, you can get one for a quarter. So, buddy, do you have a number 6 dry cell? WB4ARK, W2CQH.
W2CQH, WB4ARK. Well, Reed, about 30 to 45 seconds of your transmission got taken out by some serious fading. Otherwise, it was very copyable. Well, I don't know, checking Christmas tree lights with the lights that don't go out, the whole string goes out, that's easier to find. But you just take a good bulb and you plug it in, and then you move on to the next one, and you pull it out and put in a good bulb, and you keep moving along. There's usually not that many that are out in a string. Very, very often it's only 1 or maybe 2 at the most. But if you handle them roughly, they're going to be considerably more out than if you handle them gently when you're taking them off and wrapping them up. Let's see what else we got there. The microphone, I think the D104 had more highs, yes. I don't know if it's any louder or not. I think the Electro Voice had good volume, but it had more bass to it, and so that's about the size of that. I think the D104 it sounds maybe a little bit better. I've got some work to do, so I need to move on. I'm going to say 73, and thanks, Steve, for doing the net. And hope we'll catch you on Sunday. Let's see, W4WU has signed out, so K4GDN, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN, on business there. And Steve, the mic, I don't notice a whole lot of difference. The Electro Voice may have a little more bass, but other than that, both are easily copyable. No problem there. Your signal's always real strong here. But the band does seem to be getting a little weaker, at least from my end anyhow. So I'm going to say 73 on this round, and thanks for calling the net. I don't know if I'll make it in Sunday, but I'll certainly be back in here on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. Okay. So with that, I'm going to turn it on to Mir. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Mir, you still here? No, I think he said 73, and I got him marked off here. I guess that's about it. Any last-minute comments for the net before we close?
Okay.
You doubled with Mir.
I said, I think you close it all this time. On the other, this is WF2U. On the other hand, I heard in this round, Reed was still relatively weak, but I got 100%. And Jimmy came up to being sort of loud and clear. And George, I heard him a little bit in the previous round, but this time nothing. Interesting conditions. All right, Steve, thanks for running the net. Everybody have a nice day. I have to go and do my chores today. I have to get out of here and start working. on several things around the house. So take care all. I won't be here on Thursday, most likely, unless my herding practice is canceled. So then Sunday noon, everybody. So back to you there. Back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WFTU 73.
Okay, anybody else? All right, 73s, everybody. Have a good week, and we'll be back with you Thursday. Let's see, that would be run by Dave. LLR will be the NCS Thursday. So don't forget tonight, if you can make it, and every night on 1864 around 8 p.m. 73s. This N4LQ closing the net.